Now, listen up. 3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it. Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody here. Everybody here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
It's 7 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 9th day of the 9th month in the 3rd millennium of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, back for a second hour, having a unique panel in front of me. The hashtag Never Trump folks from, well, most from Central Iowa, one from Missouri. And Ken, you haven't started talking like Ken yet, but do you think you'll all start talking like you're from?
I will never talk like Ken.
Never talk like Ken. No, I mean the draw, not the words.
No. That happens in Southern Iowa, not just Missouri.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and by the way, speaking of which, prayers go out to the family of the man who was killed in Lucas County yesterday in the plane crash. Most folks know him. I'm not going to put his name on the radio right now because there are some people that don't know. Tragic plane crash. Guy was a good guy. Good guy. But he's sitting with Jesus, and I'm sitting with Frank, so I think he's the luckier one. So, all right, so we have basically 4 people in the studio who are hashtag Never Trump. We've got 4 people who are going to vote for Trump, and then there's Roloff. And I'm not sure, Roloff, where do you stand on this whole thing? I know you have more of a Christian perspective on this, more than just a political view on this.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Uh-huh. I get called a liberal a lot, I guess, because, I'm a Jesus follower. And so, I don't know that I resonate necessarily with either political party. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
That sounds like a political answer to me.
That was my best political answer. Yeah.
All right. So do you have any more you want to say on this later? Or?
Well, I can ask a question later. Probably get the show wrapped up. I mean, I do have a few questions. These guys, I know most of these folks pretty well, and they've all made really convincing arguments to me. I did not caucus for Trump. That was no surprise. But we talked about this in the break. Trump came in 3rd in the state of Iowa. So it's no shock that a lot of Iowans are not excited about Trump, and that most of them are just sort of holding their nose and moving forward as the party goes that direction. So it's not a shock that these Iowan folks are not for Trump, but I was one of the many who were not for Trump as well.
All right. So have you decided whether you're going to vote for him on November 6th or whenever it is?
Oh, am I going to vote for Trump?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I guess I'll. How do I answer that politically, Steve? I'm looking
yes
at Steve
or no.
Reichert.
You're dodging.
I'm dodging. I'm trying
I would
to
say
yes
no
or
if
no?
I were you.
Steve wants me to say no. Frank wants me to say yes.
Yes.
I love both of them so much. I just don't know what to do.
All right. Shut off his mic, Jebediah. All right. The comedy portion of the show is now over. Thank you very much for applauding. Make sure you try the zeal. Or the zeal.
That's funny.
You could try that too.
You could do that,
not
veal.
Veal. Thank you very much. It was all of Chris's zeal that got me excited. All right. Bob, you have 1 or 2 texts from the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993.
Yes, this question here is, how can a Christian ignore Exodus 18:21? Since the Bible doesn't contradict itself, how can you biblically explain voting for someone who has historically shown to not be a man of faith until recently, which many see as a con? And let me read it. I know people are looking it up, but I'll read it for you. Exodus 18:21 says, "But select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. There, Frank.
All right. Well, yeah,
answer
Frank.
that?
Sure. I mean,
Well, all through history, God blessed men who didn't start out godly men. Nebuchadnezzar comes to mind. King Cyrus, who overthrew Nebuchadnezzar, comes to mind. There's all kinds of men that God can work with. Just because they don't start strong, they can finish strong.
Including?
So Hillary is so evil and so reprehensible that even God can't work through her. Maybe he's going to... I think we're due for some punishment, frankly, biblical correction. Who's to say that Hillary's not that one? And again, that's not an endorsement of Hillary. I will not be voting for her either. But we've put her, made her so evil and so nasty. I mean this anybody but Clinton argument is. I mean, so if Charles Manson was available running under the R, he'd be better. I mean, these extreme. Go ahead, Steve.
You kind of hit on a key thing. The Trump crowd is vacillating back and forth between saying that Hillary has one foot in the grave and she's coughing her way to an early coffin,
right,
or she's the great destroyer of worlds and the whole of the universe will come to a screeching halt week one of her being in office. And you can't have it both ways. You can't argue both sides of that. And to my way of thinking, I think Hillary's very bad. But could we survive Hillary for 4 years? Yes, I believe that we could.
Well, let me just tell you what you're facing day one in office. Hillary of Hillary.
How long have you been a prophet, Frank?
Well,
I was just curious. I didn't know.
Based on past history, I'm basing it on a track record.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, we're going to talk about track record now?
The track
No,
record,
that's a good thing.
the track record of Hillary in fundraising is corrupt and has got corruption all over it. Now, you know every president is going to have a presidential library. That goes without saying. I can only assure you Hillary's the size and the scope of Hillary's library will only be exceeded by her ego and self-importance, and fundraising for that library will start day one, and no foreign or domestic source money will be turned away. I'll make you that promise right now. So if that's what you want, jump on Hillary.
I'm sure now Donald Trump's will be the first one with a champagne room in it, apparently.
okay, we're getting funny now.
Okay, hey, can I
make sure you keep the zeal?
Let me ask a zeal related question. So let's get off the back and forth because I listened for the whole first hour, and mostly I think Steve Riker kind of summed up the argument the best, and that is that we've just tend to hear it's about winning, right? You've got the Republican Party, and they're frustrated, and the Republican Party doesn't want to lose. The Republican Party has to win, so we've got to go with Trump because that's our guy. That argument's been made. I think we get it. So let me ask a different question. Because many people like myself who are not fully convinced to vote for Trump, I'm not fully opposed to voting for Trump, but I'm not fully convinced to do so. And as a Christian, I just think, but what are we supposed to do? And if we go the direction you guys are going, which is not to vote for Trump, right? Yes, Hillary wins. If nobody votes for Trump, Hillary wins. We get that. I understand math, 2 + 2, 1 + 1, whatever. I don't know what those equal. That's how you do math, is you put numbers together. I don't know equals parts.
Move on, Chris. Move on.
Okay, so anyway, so the question is this just I can't vote for Trump because of my conscience, and so I'm not going to vote at all? Or is there some sort of strategic long-term plan that you guys are proposing that's different than just sitting this one out?
So I can't speak for everybody, but I know in my prior time that I was talking about this on the show, I did lay out a strategic plan for voting third party because it impacts the future. To me, 2016 is a wash no matter who wins. I don't see any benefit. And as yet, that was my opening statement here, is show me a benefit to voting Trump. And that, to me, that's not even been addressed. I haven't heard one person give me he's going to do this that's going to be good and advance conservatism. It's not anything except he's going to prevent this disaster that we've made up in our minds like Y2K. But there is a strategic element to looking further than this. As I was talking to these guys earlier, I said, every election, we think it's the last election of our life. It's the biggest election of our life. We're in panic mode all the time. And if you notice, the Democrats never do that. You don't hear Democrats saying this is the biggest election of our lives. It's really rare because they don't get in a panic mode every time. They look ahead. This is the time we should be thinking about 2020. This is the time we should be thinking about 2024. This is what they do. They build from the ground up. We panic every time and we throw a Hail Mary and then it gets intercepted and we wonder why we lost.
Well, I'll answer that. And it'll go to Tim because of what Tim was saying here on the show the last day or two that he was here, talking about his personhood cause and how it's not so much the Supreme Court that is making the decisions. They want to get things decided on the personhood issue in the lower courts. And while you guys haven't been noticing the last 8 years, Obama has absolutely packed the lower courts. And the courts is the most important thing because the Congress has shirked its responsibilities. They allow the courts to make the laws in this land. They're allowing the president to make the trade deals. So they've shirked two of their main five responsibilities. Revenue raising and taxing and some other stuff follows that. But the courts is the most important thing of this whole election. Trump has laid out the people he will put on the court.
No.
Well, all you can do is, like Ken Crow, you take the man at his word or you don't. He's laid out the people he'll put on the courts, and you know what you're going to get from Hillary on the courts, and it will set this country back 50 years and it won't recover.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Tim, I'll come to you.
Then me.
And then you, Pat, and the question, and Frank, I just want you to make your statement again. But I want to remind the panel inside the room, and I want to make sure the listeners know, when we go to a break, we don't continue to talk about this subject. That's a rule in Mac's world. Because what happens is the conversation gets forwarded, and the narrative changes, and then when you come back as the listener in 3 minutes, you go, whoa, what happened? I thought. So we're all going to talk about probably Smurfs and why blue's our favorite color while we're in break, and we'll be coming back live. Just like Jesus, I'm coming back.
Do you guys think Smurfs are satanic?
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I don't know the Smurfs, but I'm assuming this is the Smurf song.
That's it.
And who was it that talked about the earworm? Was that you,
That was
Steve?
me.
Oh, that was you. So now we're going to have this all weekend long. Can't get rid of it. Maybe I should watch some Smurfs. I never watched Smurfs. How old are the Smurfs? Is that our generation?
I was
stuff?
a kid. I was a kid, I think, when it was on.
Okay,
originally,
so 40 to 55, something like that. Is anybody
Yes.
older than 57 here? Okay, so I'm the you two. Okay, good. Well, I knew you two were older.
We'll be 59 this month.
This month?
This
September?
month, September the 25th.
Oh, my heaven. You never should have told me that, Frank. September 25th.
Strippers.
Happy early birthday.
I'm going to have to call in on that day.
Donald Trump party.
I can't believe you said that on this radio station.
I'm just teasing.
All right.
Girl coming out of a cake. Just kidding.
All right.
Just
September
don't combine
25th.
that with Smurfs. We'll be good.
Yeah, 25th. Oh, that's a Sunday.
Hey, there we go. We've got it the video.
Oh, now we have it on video. Great. 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 Now, this is a rabbit trail we didn't need to go down.
That does look vaguely satanic.
Yeah, we got a text because Frank said right at the end of the break, or right before the break, that what did you say?
I said, "Is the Smurfs satanic?"
And the mic was on, and then we got a text.
Got a
Service
text
Legends
is,
Truth text line.
Yeah, Gargamel is totally satanic.
All right, I don't even know who that is. All right, so where we were at, I believe you said something, Frank, and then Tim, you were going to answer it, and then Pat.
Well, Tim was here the other day, and he was making the point that to force this personhood issue,
Chuck Hurley.
Chuck Hurley was here, and Tim, and they were making the point that to get this done, the personhood movement, they need to get it into the lower courts, have some state make the case that personhood, that the infant in the womb is the person. Well, during the last 8 years, Obama has absolutely packed the lower courts. A lot of this stuff, if it it doesn't get kicked immediately to the Supreme Court. So a lot of the lower courts are making these decisions in this country. So my point to Tim, or my question to Tim is, Hillary, you know the type of people that Hillary Clinton is going to elect for the courts. That's just a given. Now, whether you trust what Trump says or not, Trump has at least put forth a list of people that he's likely to choose from, and he says they're going to be in the Scalia mold. So, I don't know if that's enough for you guys to take his word for it or not, but because the courts have been making the laws in this country, Congress has shirked its responsibilities. They've let the president make the trade deals. They're letting the Federal Reserve run wild. They're letting the courts make the laws. So clearly, Tim, address the point about the courts, because I think Hillary will set the courts back 50 years and we won't recover.
Well, 2 points to that, Frank. One is for the last 2 years, when we bought this notion that if we put the Republicans in charge of the Senate, then we would get it right. Chuck Grassley's been in charge of that. Now, he did stand up for this Supreme Court position, but Chuck Grassley's been giving him a pass and letting Obama have every single judge he's wanted for the last 2 years. So that, and obviously a lot of us respect Senator Grassley to a point, but the point is there's not a magic be all end all to the Republican Party. And let me make the second point, and then the follow up point to that is I just lost it.
Yeah, I have one thing with that. So,
I know it was the trusting of Trump.
Go ahead.
That's what I was going to.
Yeah. So basically, those are suggestions. His campaign directors have said these are suggestions. I have no belief that Donald Trump will fight for a constitutional judge, because we know it'll be nasty in the Senate. Whoever's in charge of the Senate, it will be nasty. And if there's any pushback at all, he's going to make a deal faster than your head can spin.
Over and over, the Trump people are saying to us that morals don't matter. Integrity doesn't matter. The fact that Donald Trump lies to us over and over, and it's documented, right? We've all seen YouTube videos of Trump saying this, and then Trump saying that, and then Trump saying this, and Trump saying that. And so you tell us over and over that his integrity doesn't matter, but then you come to an issue like this and you say, but you need to trust Donald Trump. Again, you cannot argue both sides of that.
All right, Pat.
On his list of Supreme Court justices, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Rick Santorum that helped him put that list together. I also believe he backed off of it within a couple of weeks. Regardless, Ronald Reagan had 3 Supreme Court picks. Now, I think we can believe that we can both agree that Ronald Reagan was a stalwart of the Constitution. He got it wrong 2 out of 3 times. He gave us liberal Justice Kennedy, and he gave us feminist Sandra Day O'Connor. George Bush got it wrong twice, too. He gave us Souter, and he gave us John Roberts, who gave us Obamacare on a platter. On top of that, we had a conservative-dominated Supreme Court when we got Roe versus Wade. Mm-hmm. And we had a conservative-dominated Supreme Court when we got Obamacare. We also had a conservative-dominated Supreme Court when we got the gay marriage ruling. So I'm not willing to throw my principles away on a maybe that Donald Trump might have a better Supreme Court batting average than even Ronald Reagan did. That's crazy talk to me.
So can I exercise my rabbit trail privilege
here?
Yeah,
go ahead, Joel.
If I could do that. There's a lot of talk about the future and how we're never gonna win another election again. We're never gonna be able to live in a constitutional republic again. And I think there's 2 sides to this. There's a big time threat. If Hillary gets elected, some of these things are going to happen. She can open up immigration. She can change the demographics here. She can change the Supreme Court justice and change the balance of the courts, which as you talked about has already been done. There's another wall that we're coming up against that's going to come regardless of whether Hillary's elected or not. This is something that I've brought up several times, which is if you're looking at the makeup of the country, millennials, my generation, are now becoming the voting majority. We're right on the brink of that, and within 10 years, we're going to be a majority of the population. Millennials hate Donald Trump. They hate the alt-right. They hate everything that this side claims to represent, and that definition that they're now foisting upon conservatives and the Republican Party. You want to talk about demographic suicide? You want to talk about constitutional suicide? Give us a nominee who's affiliated with racism and sexism and crazy surveillance in mosques, all this civil rights trampling nonsense that Donald Trump believes in, and watch that wall of 50 to 100 million millennials take over. They're going to do worse damage than any number of immigrants you could possibly shovel into this country in one generation, less than a generation. We're already here.
All right. Thank you very much, Joel. 29 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock. This is Max World Live on 99.3 FM. It's also powered by webcast1live.com. This is hashtag Never Trump. Good conversation. Frank, I'll throw it over to you. Oh, wait. Before you do that, if you want to talk and you want your voice heard, 515-244-0077. If you want to send us a text at the Service Legends Truth text line, which we have one right now, you would text it in at 515-809-0993. Bob?
All right, here goes. The progressives win because they take what they can get. Conservatives lose most of the time because if they can't get what they want, they won't vote. We need to both vote now for the better of 2 choices and look to the future by praying for revival in this country.
You know, one of the big misconceptions that we hear a lot of times about Never Trump is that we had to get exactly what we wanted, or we were going to throw a fit and quit. And I know for a fact, I've talked to hundreds, maybe thousands of Never Trump people through social media, and one of the most common things that I hear is that I would have happily coalesced behind half a dozen candidates. I would have grudgingly coalesced behind another half a dozen more. There's only one candidate in the entire Republican Party against who I would have been hashtag never at this stage of the campaign, and that's the liberal fascist that we put in charge of the Republican Party.
All right. Go ahead, Frank.
quickly, I got a point for Steve and a point for Pat. Quickly to points, Pat. To Pat's point, pardon me. Anthony Kennedy was in response to Robert Bork, who basically got shot down because he made the statement that there was no right to abortion in the Constitution because they simply decided that issue on a thinly veiled right to privacy. So he would have been a vote that would have taken down abortion most likely. But I want to make a quick point here. The Republicans generally don't have a litmus test, but there's a new litmus test in town, according to Bernie Sanders. That is global warming, and of course, the old litmus test was abortion. But to Steve's point, Tim made a point about Charles Grassley and the idea that Grassley has passed through some of these people. That's what I told Steve early on in last hour's conversation. What has Trump done to the GOP that the GOP hasn't already done to itself? If you got guys like Charles Grassley up there passing these judges through that shouldn't be passed through, how's that Trump's fault?
We had sort of discussed this previously, so I think I know kind of where Steve would go, or maybe it was Joel that said it. Basically, Trump has exposed a lot of the problems. There's no question that Trump has done that. I think a lot of us were kind of that quiet, waiting for Trump to implode. We were just hoping it wouldn't be as the nominee or in the White House, but we just figured that was going to happen. And so he was taking down a lot of these old time, the establishment type, and that was phenomenal. But it's gotten to the point, and we should have noticed some patterns, and there's patterns you can go back over the last several decades we should have picked up on. But yeah, he has exposed the party. There's no question.
It would be a misnomer to think that anyone in the hashtag Never Trump camp thinks that the Republican Party is perfect. That, we had this shiny thing and Donald Trump came along and ruined it all. Joel, I think especially, has been very well known for being critical of the Republican Party. And I think a lot of us have been too. So there's nothing that we would say that the Republican Party is perfect on. But the difference between the hashtag Never Trump and most of the grudging Trumpers at this point is that we've all chosen a line.
Right.
We've all said that past this point, we will no longer support the Republican nominee because we don't feel that he represents any of the values that we value.
And what I just need to ask, what was that line for you? So at some point you were okay with Trump, and then he crossed a line?
No, I was never okay with Trump.
Okay, so there wasn't a line for you then.
But the line would be integrity.
No,
Steve, I feel like he has no integrity.
If you were never for Trump, there was no line, and you don't get to name it because you didn't have a line. Now, Joel, did you have? I had a line. I was with Trump until that day in Sioux City. He said, "My Mac is so loyal to me that I could kill somebody in the middle of the street and he'd still vote for me." And I was done. That was it. Now I've only got to choose between Trump and Hillary.
So what happened to your line?
What happened to my line? Hillary bumped it up. I mean, Hillary, here, I got a line over here that Hillary's perfect. Hillary violates her standards quicker than she can even lower them.
Okay, it's not about Hillary's standards, though. It's about yours, Mac.
Okay, well, it's not really. But I'll tell you what, when we come back from this break, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'd like to do some talking. I've been sitting here basically for an hour and a half, and I've been listening to you guys, and you're all extremely intelligent. In fact, Chris Roloff and I were in the other room a little bit ago, and we were both saying, wow, what a panel. I mean, wow, every one of you, Steve, Joel, Pat, Tim, every one of you. But I just want to step in if I can when we come back, and I appreciate you guys letting me do that because after all, is it back to Mac's world or is it still Chris's world?
It's your show.
Okay, we're coming back live here on Mac's World on The Truth. Yep, you're about to hear the truth on 99.3 FM.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager. Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, 4:38 on the 9th day of the 9th month in the Lord's year 2016. J. Michael McCoy back on the air for today at least, because I asked these wonderful people to come in and do #NeverTrump, and I thought I should be here. Plus, Pat, you drove. How many hours did you drive?
It's about 6 hours or so.
Was that all?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Oh, okay. All right. And Steve's home doing his kitchen work.
He promised me my kitchen would be complete by the time I got back.
And you're coming back in November?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Coming back tomorrow. All right. So I've sat back here now for the last hour and 40 minutes and listened to you guys, and you're all very good at this. I want you to know that you all have very many, you have levels, okay? A lot of people have a narrative, and that's all they got. And those people are great for short conversations on the elevator, but they don't change any minds. I know your narrative. I'm going to go to you, Steve, first. I know your narrative on a vote for a no vote on Trump or a vote for, the Libertarian or whatever is a vote for Hillary. I know you don't agree with that, but you understand that's a fact. I mean, you can narrative it up and sweeten it up and put a little eye candy on it, but the fact of the matter is, if you walk into a polling booth and there's only 2 possible winners and you don't vote for either one of those, who are you helping? You're not helping the independent. Hopefully you're going to help the down ticket and the Republicans will still do well. But if I don't vote for Trump, I'm voting for Hillary. Yeah, go ahead.
What I'd ask you to do, Mac, is to look at the future of America further out than 4 years. The grand narrative of the American future is going to be determined most likely by the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. By voting for Trump, you place your imprimatur upon him, and you say it's okay for the Republican Party to be squishy on Second Amendment, to violate civil rights, to be liberal, and all of these things.
But it's the same thing on the other side.
You're affecting the grand arc of American future by placing Donald Trump at the head, and this is my whole
thing. You're doing the other way when you played Hillary there. Look at this woman.
The Republican Party, with Donald Trump at its head, no longer stands for any of the things
they said
that made me a Republican to begin with.
They said that about Ronald Reagan. They said I was there.
We watched Reagan govern as a conservative for 16 years before they sent him to the White House.
I'll give you that. I will give you that. I'll give you that. But, one of the things that Ken Crow said that I thought so important, and I was one of those guys. I was one of those guys back with Romney. I was one of those guys back with Forbes. I just want to see what a regular guy can do, or a woman. Doesn't matter to me, the gender. I just want to see what a regular person who understands how payroll's made, and who understands the art of the deal, and I'm not saying that's because of his book, but, business
placement.
Business warfare, because that's what I used to do for a living, was business warfare. And I just wanted to see if you took those principles, and the real principle there is I don't really care about you. I don't need to network with you. I don't need to agree with you across the aisle. You're everything. I'm not pointing at anybody, but Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush and Ted Cruz, they're all part of the problem. It doesn't matter whether it's an R or a D. When the mics are off, they're all agreeing because they're getting $400,000, $500,000 a year plus, and they don't want to screw the deal up. Trump's not going to let that happen.
Well, how do you know he's not going to let that happen? It's okay. So it sounds to me like you're trying to say there's a transferable skill set between running a corporation and running a company or running a country. Is that
absolutely?
Is that what you're trying to say?
Absolutely.
I disagree.
Well, have you ever run a company?
Yeah.
Okay, so have I.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
No, it's not. Do you have two other co-equal bosses calling the shots, running your company? No. When you run a country, you have two other co-equal branches of government calling the shots.
Who Barack Obama completely ignored.
That doesn't change the fact that you have three co-equal branches of government.
But we watched for the last 8 years that not being respected by Barack Obama.
True. So is that what you're promoting for Trump? That he just not respect that? Because you're saying he's got the transferable skill set.
Yeah, he does.
Okay, so he would have to respect those three. I assume you would want him to respect the three co-equal branches of government.
I want the country fixed. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to stand up and say, well, I don't feel respected. I'm offended by that. Whatever. I don't care. My grandchildren, I have a 16-year-old grandson who wants to be a pastor. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool until about 2 years ago. And now I'm scared he won't live to have my great-grandson. I don't think this country is safe under Democratic, and I don't mean Democratic as in Republic. I mean Hillary Clinton and that machine. I just don't think we're safe under that. Joel?
Yeah, so I want to kind of quick hit two of those. One, there is when you're talking about a wasted vote or a vote for Hillary, I read a really interesting article a few weeks back about how if you live in a state that's solid blue or solid red, and you only need to get to 51% to carry the state's electoral votes, then really any vote over 51% or over 50 plus 1 is a wasted vote. Mm-hmm. Therefore, if you live in any of those states and you're voting for Trump, your vote is wasted mathematically. So why would you not use that, especially in the third-party strategy scenario? Why wouldn't you use that to advance that cause? But second of all, I wrote an article also a month or two ago now about how Donald Trump as a businessman has enhanced his business and grown his business, if you want to call it a business, and basically his whole life has been spent using government. And he admits as much. I mean, he stood on a Republican debate stage and said, I buy politicians. That's what I do. So if you're talking about we want it run as a businessman, is this the kind of businessman that you want running it? Do you want somebody who has been, at the mercy of government and been cutting deals with government, paying for their banquets and buying their benefits? Is that what we want to see, or do we want a return to business in America that's honest?
All right, Frank.
There's a different standard between being a businessman and putting your hand on a Bible. Hillary's put her hand probably on a Bible at least twice. She's been sworn in as a senator. She's been sworn in as Secretary of State. Let's see what Trump does when he puts his hand on the Bible. But here's the thing.
You have to pass it to see what's in it.
Exactly.
Well, listen, but here's a point directly to Steve. You know, there was a big deal because Trump wouldn't say he wouldn't sign a pledge to say that he would support the eventual nominee. He got a lot of grief for that. And he came around and signed the pledge. Now, here's Ted Cruz, who decides now he don't want to honor the pledge. You don't have to be a member of the Republican Party. You don't have to be a member of the Republican Party. But here's what happens. If you and I are brothers, okay, we can kick the crap out of each other in our own home. But when we come out in public, we are a united front. So if we're a Republican Party, we stand behind the Republican candidate.
Okay, so here's my question to you. Ted Cruz stood on a stage at the National Committee, and he said, I want you to vote for a candidate that will protect our freedoms and respect our Constitution.
Not an endorsement.
You tell me why that's not an endorsement of Donald Trump.
That's it. You've asked that thing on Facebook. It's a non-question. It's a non-sequitur because he did not endorse Trump.
Frank, it wasn't a pledge to endorse. It was a pledge to support.
I can tell you, as a Cruz supporter, if I had sat in a Cruz rally and someone had walked on stage and said, we want to elect someone who will protect our freedom and respect our Constitution, that Cruz rally would have gone nuts.
If it was the other way
because
around.
we knew that applied to that candidate.
If it was the other way around and Cruz was expecting Trump's endorsement and Trump come out and said that bunch of dribble, you wouldn't have accepted it in 3 seconds, and you know it.
Trump knew what was in the speech before he brought Cruz on.
Weeks ago.
He read
That's
it
right.
2 weeks prior.
It describes Cruz
He knew
perfectly.
exactly what was in the speech and let him on anyway.
Because he showed himself to be a bigger man than Ted Cruz.
Yeah, to the point, and you said this earlier. You said that you wouldn't have a problem with Donald Trump insulting your family and attacking your family. I would say that anybody who expected Ted Cruz to honor that pledge, whatever it's worth, after he went so nastily after Heidi Cruz and Rafael Cruz with that insanity. It's like expecting a battered woman to honor her vows.
All right, we are up against a hard break, and we're going to do that hard break, and we're going to come back in 2 minutes, and I'm going to do like we started out. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to just surmise your position. That's coming back live here on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. We are 9th day. What is election day? The 6th of November? 7th? 8th. All right, so we are September, October. We are literally 59 days away. Mm-hmm. Did anybody learn anything today that reinforces your position or begins to change your mind? I mean, I don't think anybody, anywhere, Bob, anybody, Frank, what are we doing to each other?
Hey,
Why does it matter?
We were swayed over here in the producer's booth.
That's because you're eating my free peanuts.
Yeah, no, there's no peanuts in the booth, man. You can't have food in here. I do have coffee, though. Is that food?
Not your coffee.
No, it's
your
not.
coffee is like an oil change.
So we had a question for the panel out here, and here's the question: are you guys trying to? Would you guys like to save the Republican Party, or would you rather a third option emerge?
Well, there's
great question.
I think that we don't know. I mean, you'd like to see the Republican Party. Most of us, I spent hours upon hours working on the platform 2 years ago. We believe in the platform. The problem is the person at the top of the ticket doesn't, and has proven that time and time again. So, that's
ditto.
I think that question's kind of like, do you guys want to take the bus or the trolley? I mean, whichever one's going to get us there faster. There's goals that we want to arrive at. If the Republican Party is the best way to get us there, we'll stick with it. If it's not, we'll have to find another option.
Yep.
The hashtag that I've run with most often is fix the GOP or burn it to the ground.
Well, and you're burning it to the ground.
Hashtag.
You're burning it to the ground. Pat, did you want to say something?
Ditto.
Oh, they were dittoing me, so.
Oh, okay.
I definitely would say ditto.
Well, I wanted to at least applaud Tim for at least giving Trump what I thought was a minor compliment.
That was my sound effect, sorry.
That he has at least exposed some things in the Republican Party that needed exposed. That's a concession in my book because Tim and I are on Facebook, and I don't hear him ever say much good about Trump. So I think that's a positive. But one thing I would like to say is that where I think Trump could make some gains in this is there's at least $2 trillion or more, people say, dollars sitting offshore that needs to come back in this country. And the Republicans agree it needs to come back. The Democrats agrees it needs to come back. That's a lot of infrastructure. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of stuff that this country needs. And I would suggest that he says he can broker that deal between the Republicans and the Democrats and put that money back in this country. I would like Mac, I'd like to see a Steve Forbes. I'd like to see a Mitt Romney. I'd like to see Mitt Romney was buying pizza during the Olympics and was making money buying $5 pizza, selling it for $1 a slice. I want somebody with that kind of attitude running this country because we are running ourselves into the hole.
All right. I want to thank each one of you for coming in. If you have any last thoughts, I want you to feel like you have them. Otherwise, I'm gonna change topics for a second.
I'll just real quickly, thanks. I know I feel like I'm here a lot, but I appreciate it. This was fun. I did get a touch on my subject that I usually talk about a little bit, but this was entertaining. It was fun. Hopefully people listening thought so as well. And it really what it felt like was the verbalization of my Facebook wall over the last several months. Yeah. And, it's been interesting. I do want to say, although Frank almost got there, I had Trump bingo going, and I was waiting for all the talking points.
Guns.
I just didn't quite. Well, there you go. I didn't quite get there. I was waiting for Making America Great Again or something along that lines. We didn't get there.
Flip it, show him.
I don't know which camera.
Oh, I see. All right. All right.
So
why would we talk?
Why
would we talk about guns?
We didn't know. We were just trying to figure out
of Trump's anti-Second Amendment position.
So and thanks for having us on. This was tremendously.
We'll do it again soon.
A lot of fun. Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
do it again soon.
Well, I'm going to be living a little bit closer soon, so we'll.
And I'll drive up for it again.
Okay. Well, I'm. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that, honestly, I just want anybody that's listening to this, just consider, there's more than just politics in this election. When you look forward, like Steve was mentioning, there's the future of the country's at stake, but it's not just the courts and the political system, it's the culture. And look at the culture that's developing around Donald Trump and ask yourself, is that what you want to be at the top of the Republican Party for generations to come? Is that what you want us to be seen as?
All right. I want to thank each one of you. To me, guys, I just want let me share something with you. And this is sharing with the listener at home and obviously sharing with you guys in studio. This is what radio's about. It's not about the playing the hits from the 70s. I know talking about Jesus is extremely important, and a lot of people, that's their only worship, and I love the fact that this radio station does that. But when the doors are open to us, and so I'm a broadcaster, but none of you guys are. You're passionate about what you believe in your heart, and yet you're willing to sit there and have a conversation that on the third time somebody tells you you're wrong, you do something with your fingers and you walk out the door. And none of you, I don't know if you, maybe you all felt like doing that, but I didn't feel like anybody felt like doing that. You were a part of something today that I think Marconi saw, envisioned 100 and some years ago. And that is just people coming in, sharing their passions. And oh, by the way, there's these things in front of them called cans or mics or whatever they are, and other people get to share. Take the podcast on this or the webcast and share it. This is the kind of thing that ought to go viral. It isn't some of the silly stuff we see, falling off of trampolines or whatever. It's passionate people coming in and talking about what you believe, Joel, is going to impact your grandchildren, your children, your grandchildren, your grandchildren. I know my grandchildren. That's what made today so great. And I just thank each one of you for participating in it. And we need to do it again, maybe on the best pecan pie or something. I don't know. On that note, I just want to say something to the listeners if I can. You heard the word revival used a couple times here. And last Friday, before I took some time off, I talked to you about what I think we need to do to have a revival in this country. And I can't find a biblically literate person to agree with me. So I'm just going to have to stand out and be alone on this because I can't change my mind. And that is that if we all prayed that the accuser, the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call him or her or it, if we all prayed that he would repent, he'd go to his creator and say, God, I'm messed up. I'm the biggest mess up in the whole world. I have messed up your plans for millions and billions of people, and the only thing I know to do is to follow the love that you had as Jesus when you came to this earth. And that is forgive the people that absolutely do not deserve forgiveness, don't deserve grace, have shown nothing of Jesus in their fruit. Maybe this weekend, just say a prayer with Crazy Mac that somehow God would find it in his heart to forgive the accuser. That's the revival we're looking for. It isn't political. It isn't even coming from the Holy Spirit. It's coming from Jesus saying, forgive, because as you forgive, that's how you'll be forgiven. I'll see you at church.